Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. You may know me as Audio Mocha, and I'll be teaching you how to use your MIDI synchronized lights look more interesting by adding fadeouts to match your music's timing. I hope that you were when you set up your MIDI cable on the last tutorial that you are also sending your clock data to it so that QLC plus 5 have a beat will be able to match your project's BPM or beats per minute. So previously, we triggered a simple scene with a flash that ended up feeding a little too much after a while because it was just a very bright flash and then immediately to darkness. And I want to go for more of an effect in which you have the sudden flash, but then we have a tail of a fade out to look a bit more organic, to kind of feel like the sound of a kick drum going away. In order to add a fade out to our kick flash, we're going to be working with what's called chasers. So now we're going to hop into QLC plus 5 and head into the Fixtures and Functions tab. We're going to open the Functions Manager. We see the kick flash scene that we used in the last tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate it by clicking on the Clone the Selected Functions button. Now we're going to double click the new scene. I'm going to rename it Kick Dark. After we clicked on this scene, we had this bit come up, so we're going to collapse this panel. And this is going to show us the DMX values of this scene. So what I'm going to do here is, in order to darken out the green light, I'm going to set the green channel completely to 0. Do not touch the intensity. You don't want this to touch anything else that may be going on while you have your song running. One thing that may happen is that if you set the intensity to 0, something like a kick light may disable your snare light, so that's why I tend to just mess with the color itself. So now we're going to back out of the kick dark scene, and we're going to click on the add a new function button, and I'm going to add a new chaser. I'm going to go ahead and rename this chaser Kick Chaser. So now we have our new chaser, and it started off with the kick dark function already. So now what we're going to do, we're going to click add a new step. I'm going to drag it over, and now we have two functions in our kick chaser. I'm going to set the flash to be first and the dark to be after. Next up, we're going to edit the run properties of the kick chaser. Click on run order, make it single shot. If you don't have a single shot, what ends up happening is that you end up toggling each step inside of a chaser. So what was happening to me before that I just struggled with for a few minutes is that my kick drum would activate the light, and then the next kick drum, it wouldn't activate the light, but then that's when the fade out would start. But at single shot, every step in the chaser occurs. So make sure that you set your run order to be single shot. I'm going to set the fade out 2 per step so that we can independently control each scene inside of the chaser. I'll do the same for duration. Basically, having those options as common mean that every scene in your chaser has the same fade out and or duration time. You might need that information in the future. So I'll click on the tempo and I'll set it to beats. This is where the MIDI clock comes in handy. You may notice that the values change from milliseconds to whole notes, or rather to whole values. Before I forget, we'll have QLC plus 5 use Reaper's BPM rather than its own. So we're going to click on this BPM value here, and I'm going to switch it to my tutorial cable. Now we have the BPM off. There's nothing being received from the tutorial virtual MIDI cable. So now I'm going to set the fade out time for the kick flash scene. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to have a long fade out. We notice this panel hop coming on here. Let me just reopen this so I only have. There we go. I just want to show this panel. Personally, I like to have a really long fade out with my kick, and that's going to work pretty well for the basic rock project that I'm working on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to 2. I'll set the duration to 1, which also affects the hold. And now we're going to edit the kick dark scene. I'm going to set its duration to 0, and its fade out it's already at 0. So now I'm going to go ahead and return to the virtual console and open the functions panel. So I'll drag the new chaser into the page. Now we have the chaser on the page. So now that we have our kick chaser, we're going to go ahead and edit it to add external controls just like we did for the kick flash. I'm going to go ahead and add a new external controller input. Once again, it is listening for my command, and I'll hop back into Reaper and send the signal, and we can see that the channel field has been auto populated by channel 165. I've skipped ahead and I've added a new function for a snare drum chaser as well. Now we're going to see how well our lights match up with the kick drum. And now we can see that unlike a very bright momentary flash, we get a little bit of a fade out with the kick and the snare, which is a lot more pleasing to my eyes. Another thing that you may notice as well is that the light has stayed on since I stopped playback. The reason for that is the clock generator has stopped running into QLC Plus. So just to get this light turning off, I'm gonna go here to stop all the running functions and to get QLC to kind of calm down, and then have our lights turn off yet again. The last thing that what I want to show is adding a response to tom fills. So tom fills tend to be really quick and have lots of hits. So basically, all that flashing from one light would look kind of disorienting. But in order to kind of simulate the toms coming from multiple sides, next up what we're gonna do is having alternating lights using the same MIDI signal. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful to you. I'm Daniel Flores, Audio Mocha, and I'll see you next time.